Ladies and gentlemen, this time I present to you Kang Moon-jung, the head of Institute for Hydrogen Industry from Hyundai Motor Group. Please give her a warm round of applause.
On behalf of Hyundai Motor Group, I welcome you today. My name is Moon-jung Kang, and I am the head of Institute for Hydrogen Industry. Today, I would like to share with you regarding how to facilitate future mobility through hydrogen energy. Once upon a time, Hyundai was a car company. Now we are becoming a smart mobility solution provider and not just a car company. We are committed to leading the future of mobility with cars that are clean, connected, and autonomous. We are bringing clean mobility with hybrid electric vehicles, plug-in electric vehicles, battery electric vehicles, and fuel cell electric vehicles to offer a cleaner and healthier tomorrow. We will increase the number of eco-friendly car models to 44 by 2025, with battery electric vehicles accounting for 23. Please play the video. Our next generation fuel cell vehicle named Nexo is also called as running air purifier because they can reduce carbon dioxide just running. We are focusing on autonomous driving or self-driving mobility that will deliver the driver the true freedom in mobility. This September, Hyundai Motor Group and US-based Aptiv formed $4 billion self-driving joint venture. Is it possible to self-drive for 200 kilometers or 120 miles? With Hyundai autonomous fuel cell electric vehicle Nexo, it is possible. Back in early 2018, right before Winter Olympic Games in Korea, Nexo has succeeded in completing a self-driven 200-kilometer journey from Seoul to Pyeongchang, the host city of Winter Olympic Games already. That is the first time in the world that level 4 autonomous self-driving has been achieved through fuel cell electric vehicles. Let us enjoy the fascinating moment together. Please play the video. Please play the next video, please. We are offering connected mobility to connect your car with your world. Nexo powers their precious time. To meet the Paris 2-degree target, electrification or going electric through renewable would be the key part of the recipe. Electricity demand doubles until 2050 and grow its shares in total final energy consumption from 19% today to 29% by 2050. Uptake of electric vehicles accelerates in all road segments as cost parity of electric vehicles is achieved by early to mid-2020s. Through electrification to reduce carbon emission, 27% of road transport, 45% of buildings, and 25% of industry could be electrified. However, there are still hard-to-abate sectors. 73% of road transport, 55% of buildings, 75% of industry. What else than electrification? Fuel cell electric vehicles can help decarbonize transportation sectors with longer ranges and more weights. Because transportation doesn't only mean passenger cars, such as medium to heavy-duty trucks, buses and coaches, trams and trains, etc. Hyundai pictures in the future, traditional vehicles are likely to account for 50%, personal air vehicle or flying car and robotics 30% and 20% respectively, which requires longer range and more weight. In a luncheon meeting with Korean correspondents in New York right after the joint venture announcement with Aptiv, Executive Vice Chairman said that for the right model to become autonomous vehicle, fuel cell electric vehicles are most qualified because they can drive long range compared to all other electric vehicles. This map shows the excess or surplus of renewables globally. Wind and solar only produces energy when wind is blowing and sun is shining. That we call this character as intermittency. Intermittency brings about a mismatch between demand and supply. This shows the primary energy demand per fuel in 2035 and 2050. Our fossil fuel dependency hasn't budged in 35 years. We cannot help relying on fossil fuels for some time as well as renewables. So the question is not only hydrogen or electricity, but also how to optimize the use of both renewables and fossil fuels to reach a sustainable low-carbon society. That's why hydrogen gets attention. Hydrogen can be sourced from fossil fuels as well as renewables. To reduce carbon emission, we need to use renewables. However, we can't generate renewables as we wish. It's like how we rely on rainfall for water when we farm. We can successfully farm if it rains. If it doesn't, it is a drought. Then how can you regulate renewables? The answer is in hydrogen. In Mongolia, nomads milked a lot of milk from the cows. During winter time, however, they can't milk the cows. Then how would they preserve milk? That's how the cheese came to be. Think of like this. Milk is electricity. Cheese is hydrogen. The total amount of energy to use in a city like LA or Madrid is big. To be provided by wind or solar sources, we need a huge storage system as backup. That cannot be reached through batteries. However, hydrogen can allow it. Electricity cannot be stored in large quantities. Excess of electricity or surplus of electricity could be converted into hydrogen through so-called power-to-gas process. Then the hydrogen can be stored for months without losing much power. That's why hydrogen is called as energy carrier and play a key role in energy transition from renewable sources and fossil fuel-based electricity to so-called hard-to-abate sectors, including road transport, industry, and buildings. Hydrogen itself also can serve as a renewable feedstock to industry. As electrification increases, the traditional fossil fuel-based buffer will no longer be adequate to secure a stable energy supply for all end users. Instead, hydrogen could be a viable future option for mastering the buffer challenge. That's why many countries come up with national hydrogen vision, roadmap, and strategy. South Korea and EU in January this year, Japan in March, France in June, Canada in October, US and Australia in November, China in December. Germany announced that Germany will come up with their national hydrogen strategy by end of this month. Hyundai Motor Group's Executive Vice Chairman has been appointed as a new co-chairman of the Hydrogen Council early this year. Hydrogen Council is a global CEO initiative launched during 2017 World Economic Forum in Davos. Hydrogen Council aims to scale up significant investment in development and commercialization of fuel cell and hydrogen sector, and also encourage key stakeholders to increase their backing of hydrogen as future energy mix with appropriate policies and subsequent schemes. Lastly, I would like to briefly introduce Institute for Hydrogen Industry, which I am in charge of. Institute for Hydrogen Industry has been newly set up to support Hyundai Motor Group's fuel cell and hydrogen initiative to advocate hydrogen technology and deploy hydrogen technologies. Hyundai Motor Group announced fuel cell vision by 2030, investment $7 billion beyond automotive industry, including forklifts, trams and trains, power generators, and vessels. One of our key roles is to share information, develop global innovative RTD project. RTD stands for Research, Technology Development and Demonstration, and recommend policy making together with international organizations, government-affiliated organizations, public and private partnership, and national and regional association in fuel cell and hydrogen society. I sincerely appreciate that I had an opportunity to present you. And if anyone has any question, I would happy to open up discussion.
So I would like to open up the hall for questions and answers. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. So the first question will be delivered by Professor Im Man-sung from KAIST.
Thank you, Dr. Kang, for this very
not doctor.
interesting presentation. I think the hydrogen economy or hydrogen initiative is a very important one, and Hyundai Motors taking its leadership is very impressive and very important. My question, as part of your presentation, you talked about the importance of creating hydrogen using renewables and etc. But then I think the current state of the art of hydrogen generation technology is methane reforming using natural gas. Because of the economics, that's basically the status quo. And for the low carbon energy technology to make a competitive edge, it has to be a low cost electricity generation. So in that regard, I think use of nuclear power is also considered, because the cost of electricity from nuclear power is very low in South Korea. So in terms of Hyundai Motors development, do you have any idea of a plan to take advantage of some of the low-cost electricity generation for water electrolysis spaces, hydrogen generation?
Thank you, Professor. There is no doubt that nuclear power play a major role in power sector for a long time and will play a part in the future. Renewables, fossil fuels, and nuclear power will remain complementary because there are differences in regions and countries in terms of energy mix. Hydrogen production using nuclear power is known to be developing various technologies such as electrolysis with surplus power and pyrolysis with waste heat. It is thought that there is a room for development of energy utilization and mutual complementary relationship with renewable-based hydrogen energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, please raise your hand. Mr. Kim Hong-jin from KAIST.
Thank you, Doctor, for your wonderful presentation.
I'm not doctor, sorry.
Oh, Director, thank you. Battery, fuel cell, both are hardware. They play a very important role in future technological R&D and price competitiveness. However, so does software and platform. Hyundai possesses the former. It has the state-of-the-art hydrogen cells. We all know that. However, we have to admit that Hyundai does not rank on the same line as it does in hardware in their software or platform businesses compared to your US, Japanese, or German competitors. In this sense, Hyundai has purchased or made a significant agreement with JV last September, if I'm correct, to overcome this somewhat hindrances. So could you summarize the strategy and maybe the vision that the company has for its future hydrogen vehicle initiative in the short term and possibly transitioning into the hydrogen economy in the long term?
Thank you. Future mobility technology include hybrid electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, battery electric vehicles, and fuel cell electric vehicles, and have advantage and disadvantage for each class and vehicle type depending on the characteristics of technology. Currently, global companies are agile in responding to rapid changes by breaking down the wall of technology development through joint alliance in preparation for fourth revolution. In the software segment, which is one of the future mobility technologies, sensor and computing power consumption, such as connectivity or autonomous driving, is increasing rapidly. Thus, fuel cell electric vehicles have advantage in terms of energy storage in the mid to heavy-duty vehicles and commercial vehicles. And also, electric vehicles will play a certain role in certain grade vehicle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the luncheon special speech of the 6th Annual Seoul Climate Energy Conference.